Hey guys, this is Mitch with FinePoint CGI, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about compiling Godot with Mono. So we're going to go through the process of downloading and installing Mono, downloading and installing Visual Studio, which has our MS build. We're going to go through the process of setting up our export. We are going to compile Godot using Mono. We are going to create our export templates. We're going to combine them all and finally export out a very simple application using Mono. So that's what I have in store for you guys today. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to download and install Mono. Now, Mono is the C# library that Godot uses to generate out all of our C# code into binaries that can be used by Godot to run the project. So let's go ahead and download Mono, and the version that we're going to download, in my case, I'm going to pull down the 64-bit, but it really depends on your operating system version. In my case, I will pull down 64-bit. Now, while that's downloading, let's go ahead and go over to Visual Studio, and we're going to need to pull down Visual Studio. Now, you don't have to pull down Visual Studio. You can just pull down MS Build and NuGet, but it comes with Visual Studio when you download Visual Studio, so you might as well just go ahead and pull both of those down with Visual Studio. So I'm going to pull down the Community Edition, and you can use the Community Edition for professional use as long as you do not make more than, I believe it's $1 million. So let's go ahead and let those download, and I'll be right back. So now that we have them downloaded, let's go ahead and open up Visual Studio Community Edition. We're going to go ahead and say, yeah, we can go ahead and install this. It says, hey, before we get started, we're going to need to do a few things so that you can configure installation. Go ahead and hit continue, and it's going to go ahead and download the things it needs to do to run the installer. So now it's going to go ahead and ask you what kind of packs you would like to install. So what kind of development you're going to be doing. Now, with Godot, I always suggest desktop C++. That comes with your C++ profiling, your C++ building, and a lot of your C++ addressing stuff. So it's super useful just for Godot development in general. So make sure you pull that down. I always like to do ASP.NET and web development. The reason why I like to do ASP.NET web development is because if I'm going to make myself a server or some kind of service or some kind of API that I can interact with, I like to do it in .NET, so I make sure I have that. Another big important one is game development with Unity. You don't necessarily need it, but it is there. It does give you C++ and Visual Basic. You don't have to have it, but it's something that you can have. In my case, I'm going to have it because I use Unity sometimes for work, so I make sure that I have it. And then the .NET desktop environment so that I could have all of my profiling and C#.NET stuff. And that should be just about everything. If you want anything else installed, just go ahead and pick them, but these are the ones I'm going to be installing. It's going to be about 14 gigabytes. So one thing about Microsoft is it definitely eats up your space. So let's go ahead and click install, and we'll go from there. So while this is running, let's go ahead and install Mono. Since this looks like it's going to take a while, let's just go ahead and install Mono. So I'm going to double click on the Mono exe here, and we're going to run through that real quick. So yep, I accept my license and agreement without reading it because that's what most people do. We'll go ahead and click install. It's going to pop up and say, hey, do you want to install this? Yes, I do. So we'll run through this real quick. It should only take a few seconds. Mono is very quick compared to Visual Studio. So all right, now I'm going to go ahead and click Finish. Let's check on our Visual Studio installer, and it's still going, so I will be right back. And while we're waiting, again, we might as well just download the Godot source code because Visual Studio is taking forever. So let's go ahead and download that. So I'm going to click on this little code button here, and I'm going to grab the link here to download it. So let's go ahead and copy that. I am going to go ahead and go out to my documents folder. I'm going to right click, add in a new folder, and I'm just going to call it Godot source. And I'm going to go inside of there. I'm going to right click and go get bash here. If you don't have Get, go ahead and download it. I have a link in the description below for you guys. So now we have Get bash here, so we're going to go Get clone, and we are going to go ahead and paste our get bash command here. What that's going to do is that's going to clone our project into a folder called Godot, and we will let that download since we're waiting for Visual Studio to finish. And actually, I believe Visual Studio just finished, so while this is downloading, it says, hey, you need to restart your computer, so we're going to have to wait to do that in a second, but go ahead and restart your computer, and once this download's finished, go ahead and restart your computer. So in my case, I'm going to click cancel. So now that I have this download, we're going to CD into Godot, and you will see that we are at master. Now, we don't want to be at master, because if we are at master, that's going to give us Godot 4.0. And one of the things in my testing of this at the time of recording, which is 8/7 of 21, Godot 4.0 support for mono is extremely limited, and it actually crashes a lot. So I'm just going to forego that and pull down a tag version of Godot that is more stable. So in this case, we're going to try to pull down the 3.2 or 3.3.2 stable. Okay, so in get, to pull down a tag, if I reopen this and I say get checkout / tag, oh, I'm sorry, get checkout space tags / 3.3.2 stable. And that should allow me to pull down that tag. So let's go ahead and click that or hit enter, and let's see what it does. So it looks like it found the tag, and it is now switched us over to the 3.3.2 stable branch. Now that we have this downloaded, let's go ahead and restart our computer. Okay, so now that we have our system restarted, let's go ahead and open up a Mono console. So what a MonoDevelop 64 command prompt here, and what this is it's Mono's own development environment. Now, you're not going to really need to use this for a lot, but we do need to use it to download our Mono stuff. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is that we're in C program files Mono, and this is a problem. The reason why is because we need to have the permissions to write to this directory, and we don't. So we need to make sure that we cd cd ... and then we can give ourselves a dir to get our directory listings. And I'm just going to go to cd users. Let's see, my username, and then we are going to go to cd documents. So basically, I'm just going to pass myself over to my documents folder. So now, from here, we need to do what's called curling, okay? And no, it's not the sport that they throw the little big ice brick down and they kind of use brooms to move it around and stuff, right? It's not that. What curling is it allows you to fetch out to a website and pull data down, kind of like going to an actual website normally. So what we'll do is we'll type curl -lo space https : curl.hacks.se /ca/ca cert.pem. And what that's going to do is it's going to fetch out and say, hey, I need this cert information. Okay. And it's going to pull down that cert information. So I open up a file browser here, and I go to my documents folder, and I scroll down. You can see that there is a cert.pem file sitting here. And that is my certificate authority bundle, so I can use Mono properly. So now I'm going to type cert-sync /user ca cert.pem. We're going to hit enter, and it's going to go ahead and add in all of these certs. So you can see all of these certs that it added. These are all certs that we need so that NuGet and things like that will work with our Mono instance. Awesome. So now that we're at this point, if you guys followed a previous tutorial of how to compile Godot inside of Scans, you will already have all this set up. But if not, just be sure to download the Godot source. Be sure to download and install Scans, and be sure to have the C++ linking library from Visual Studio. Now, I'm going to come over to my Godot source here. I'm going to go into Godot. We can close this and type in CMD. All right. So now that we have our command prompt open, we need to first generate our glue, okay? And what glue is it's the wrapper functions that are called by your methods. So think of it kind of like, hey, we need to generate this source so that we can map our Godot functions to Mono. So now what we're going to do is we'll type scans. P is equal to Windows. I'm going to do a Windows build. You could do any other build you want if you have availability for it. And we're going to say tools is equal to yes. That is our editor. So you want to make sure that this is yes if you are using it for your project, like if you're actually going to use it as an editor environment, not a execution environment. And then we need to type module underscore mono underscore enabled is equal to yes. And then we need to say mono underscore glue is equal to no. And what we're doing is we're saying, hey, build this out with mono, but don't generate the glue. And the reason why we don't want to generate the glue right directly now is because we don't have a build to map our glue to. We need to build it without the glue before we can build it with the glue. I know it's really weird, but that's just how this works. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And actually, before we hit enter, let me hit -J7. And the reason why I'm going to say -J7 is -J is the number of threads that this is going to run off of, and 7 is the number of threads I want this to run off of. I have 8 threads. I want one just in case, I don't want to crash my computer or anything like that. And also I like to watch YouTube while this compiles. So I'm going to do 7. But you guys can do however many your system can have. Like however many threads you want this to run off of. It's going to be faster. The higher the number, the faster it compiles because it uses more of your system. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And if everything was set up correctly, it should compile. Okay, so now that it's done compiling, you can see that it says here, hey, Scon's done building targets. So we should have our build out there. So now if we come out here to our bin, you should see a mono version of Godot with the tools and whatnot enabled. Now, executing this isn't going to do much because we need to go ahead and generate our glue. So what we're going to do is we'll go back one here. Actually, well, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? But what we will do is we will type bin / because we need to go into that directory and we need to execute our mono application. So Godot Windows Tools 64 mono. We're going to double dash. We're going to say generate -mono -glue. And then we are going to say modules /mono /glue. And what that's going to do is it's going to take our executable, it's going to generate our mono glue from it, and it's going to dump it out into our modular's mono glue location. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. You'll see it's going to execute Godot. You'll see a bunch of generation right here, and it's going to say, I'm generating all of these connections. You can see how it generated all of these connections and these C# scripts here. It actually built those C# scripts off of the C++ code, which is awesome. It saves us a crap ton of time needing to do all that manually, right? So now we need to do the exact same thing and export out Godot a second time. So we'll just hit up, and we're going to say mono glue is equal to yes. And we are going to also, let me do this. Yes. And also, we're going to come in here just after platform, and we're going to say target is equal to release underscore debug. And what that's going to do is that's going to give us an actual Godot build for us to be able to run off of. So now that should, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not crazy. Let's see. And we don't need, I knew I was crazy, we don't need our mono glue. I was looking at my notes like, do I need that? Go ahead and hit enter, and it's going to go ahead and build ourselves our Godot build. So you'll see it compiling with the percentages and everything, which means it's compiling actual Godot, not just the glue section. So that's awesome. So let's let that run through, and I'll be back when it's done. So now that Godot has compiled, if we go out to our bin folder here, there should be a build of Godot here that we can go ahead and execute. You can see we now have our Godot build here. So now if I create a new project and I just call it Godot sample, and we create our folder, and then we go ahead and create an edit, and it's going to make a really big Godot project here. So I'll rescale this for you guys. Let me drag this out, and we're going to go ahead and just create a 2D scene. We're going to right click, attach a script, and you will see we now have C# here. So we can actually click on that and go ahead and create our solution and all of that stuff. So you can see we now have C# support inside of our Godot project. So I could do gd dot, or I guess I have to do Godot now. Oh, it's got to compile. Getting ahead of myself. It needs to compile all of our stuff and get our language pack servers and stuff like that into the project. So that way we can go ahead and get our stuff working. So now I can go GD. I think it might need to compile. Let me double check. Let me build it real quick. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. So let's try that. gd.print, and then we are going to print hello world. So now if we hit play, and I haven't selected a scene because I haven't saved my scene. So let me save my scene as whatever the default is, and then we go ahead and we select that as our scene. It's going to build, it's going to try to run it, and you will see hello world here. Awesome. So now we have this working, which is fantastic. Now, one thing of note is if we go ahead and we kill our build and we go to our project export and we try to export out to something like Windows Desktop, you'll notice it says, hey, whoa, hold on a minute, right? We don't have any export templates. What's going on here, right? The reason why is because we need to actually generate our export templates. We need to tell Godot what all we want in our export for it to be able to do our export. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our command prompt here, and we're going to go ahead and generate that. So let's type scons p is equal to Windows, target is equal to release underscore debug, tools is equal to no, module underscore mono underscore enabled is equal to yes. We're going to run that, and that will go ahead and compile Godot for our, oh, it crashed on me. Let's see. I just closed Godot. I had it open, so let's see if that fixes this issue. Yep, that's what it was. Okay, so you have to make sure that you have Godot closed, or else it's going to have that DLL captured there. So let's go ahead and let this run through, and I'll be right back with you guys. All right, now that that one's done compiling, let's go ahead and do the exact same thing, but instead for a release version. So let's go ahead and drop that in. Let's let that run through, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so now if I go ahead and I open up Godot, so you need to open up the Godot Windows OPT Tools 64 Mono. So we're going to go double click that, and you'll see it opens up our Godot project. And I'm going to go grab our Godot sample here. We're going to go ahead and open that up, and let's make this a little smaller so it fits inside of your guys' little screen here. As you guys know probably by now, but I record an ultra wide, so I have to make it like proper scale for you guys, or else it just doesn't work. Now we need to define our export template. So if we go out to our project export and we go ahead and we add in a Windows desktop export, you'll see that you have two sections here: custom template, debug, and release. Let's go ahead and click on debug, click on the little file icon here, and click on this little list view here. We're going to go step up, and then we are going to navigate to our Godot source code. So Godot source, Godot bin, and we are going to pick our debug mono exe right here. So we'll go ahead and hit that and click open. And now we're going to do the exact same thing with our release. So if you click on our little folder here, you go list view, you peel up, you go to Godot source, Godot bin, and then you find your release version of this. So you see how we have debug mono. We also have just regular mono. So let's go ahead and export with that. Awesome. Now, if we click export project and we choose Godot sample, which I've already exported this, I've already tested this once. But if we hit save and we attempt to overwrite it, it's going to build, and you will see that we get an error. You don't see it directly, but there is an error here. If we go ahead and we open up our Godot console here and we take a look, it says, hey, data template directory not found at this location. And it says, hey, data template directory not found, file name, roaming Godot templates 3.32 stable mono data mono debug. So what does this mean, right? Well, what this means is if we go out to this directory here, to the templates directory, and we actually go out to that directory, which I have open here, it doesn't exist. Our templates don't exist until they're in this directory. So what we need to do is we need to name a folder here after this little section here, right? So we're going to create ourselves a folder here. We're going to name it 3.32 stable mono, okay? And that's going to allow us to put all of our export template data into here. So let's go open up our bin folder. Let me just go ahead and copy all of this and paste it. Let me get that underscore in here because that's where it was. Okay. And now that we have all this copied over, let's go ahead and attempt to re-export. So let's say export project. Yep. File exists. Override it. Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and try that. And let's see if we get an error inside of our console. We did not. So it successfully exported out the project. Now, if we go out to that directory, so if we right click here, open in File Manager, and you see Godot sample project here, and we double click on that, we get another error. Mono 2.0 SGen DLL was not found. Reinstalling the program may fix this problem. Well, what does this mean? It means that we need to package our Mono 2.0 SGen DLL. So if we come out to our project here, our little stable thing, we grab this and we paste it in here. And then we double click on it again. You'll see that now the project executes. So it's a little bit of a roundabout way, and you can see we have our hello world right there. You can see it's a little bit roundabout, but that is how we go about building Godot with Mono. Now, I know that everyone's like, why would you ever want to do this, right? Well, A, we're able to choose which version of Mono we want to use. We could choose which version of Godot we want to use. If we want to use 4.0, we can. There is a bug with it right now, but we could if we wanted to. And finally, This exercise teaches us a lot about Mono and about Godot's support for Mono. It teaches us a lot about how, hey, you know, we need this Mono 2.0 SGen DLL that doesn't automatically get copied over when we do our build, right? It also teaches us about how other binaries get interacted with Godot. One of the things that you'll notice is if you were to, say, have SQLite support inside of Godot, which is an upcoming tutorial, if you were to export out your project, for some reason it doesn't work, and that's because the DLL isn't being exported out with your Godot project. So it's just something that we need to keep in mind, right? Is this exercise teaches us a lot about how Godot works with C# support. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. And hey, you know, if you like this video, hit that like button. And hey, you know, if you dislike this video, go ahead and hit that dislike button because I'm here to make content for you guys. Now, this was a viewer suggested tutorial, so I do pay attention to you guys. And as you guys know, and I'm pretty sure I've told you guys a few times, but I have a Trello board out for you guys so you guys can actually see what videos are upcoming and what videos I'm thinking of and what ideas I have. And I'll drag this over for you guys to see. You know, I do this for you guys because, you know, I believe I should be open and transparent. And hey, you know, if you guys need help with this, go ahead and join my Discord. I have a link in the description below for you guys, so check that out if you guys feel like it. But that's really all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much again for watching. I will see you all next time. Thanks.